What I am about to say is not going to make any sense to any of you, but a few weeks ago I saw the movie Anyone But You starring Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, and there were two people who sat behind me, and they really wanted me to give them a shout out in my video for that movie. Well, I never reviewed that movie, so I decided to just do it now. So, the two people who sat behind me at Anyone But You, here's your shout out. You really wanted it. They also wanted me to say that that was a 10 out of 10 movie. It was not. I liked it, but it was not a 10 out of 10 movie. This is, though. They also wanted me to plug in their Instagram, but I don't do Instagram, and I also wasn't going to do that in general. But you got your shout out, so be happy. This has nothing to do with Mean Girls.
What was that?
Oh Lord, it's the Queen Bee.
Regina George.
Don't look her in the eye!
You could be really hot if you changed, everything.
Mean Girls once again comes to us from Tina Fey and is being released 20 years after the original cult classic. And for those of you who aren't aware of what Mean Girls is, what the fuck, you haven't seen Mean Girls? It is about new student Katie Heron, who is welcomed into the top of the social food chain by an elite group of popular girls known as the Plastics, ruled by the conniving Queen Bee Regina George. Okay, you know why I feel kind of stupid explaining the plot to this, because I'm pretty sure most of you know this movie. But the one major difference between this one and the original is that this one's a musical. So just like the recent remake of The Color Purple, this one is both a remake and a mix of the original and the Broadway show. Oh, I did not miss that train. I did not miss that train whatsoever. Fuck that train. But when it comes to the original Mean Girls, I may be joking about people not seeing it, but it's honestly not even been a year since I first watched it. But I have watched it twice since then, both in theaters I might add. Yes, working at a movie theater has its perks. But all in all, I do like it a lot, and I think it's one of the best high school movies of the early 2000s. It's funny, well written, very quotable, and it has such a great iconic villain with Regina George. But when I saw the trailer for this newest Mean Girls, I thought it looked like shit. Despite being a musical, I thought it didn't look good at all. It honestly looked like what I feared a modern day Mean Girls would be like. I actually was just about to go into this whole thing about how I thought it looked like a terrible idea, but I just thought the best way to explain it. What I thought this was gonna be was basically Mean Girls meets Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, which, if you know how much I hate that movie, that is not good at all. But then one thing that kind of changed my mind was seeing the recent Color Purple, because despite being based off the Broadway show, I thought it was such a weird movie to be turning into a musical, but I ended up really enjoying it and thought the musical numbers actually helped make it better than the original, at least for me. But I also didn't hate the trailer for that movie, and I also thought the original was good. Nothing great, just good. But now that I've seen the new Plastics and all their fakeness, I can safely say that this movie is a steaming pile of it's not for me. Yeah, that's the best I can say about it. And I gotta emphasize this one more time. This is a musical. I know so many people who are going into this unaware that it is a musical, even though there is clearly a musical note in the letter A of the title card. Look at it. It's right there, I think. But when it comes to those musical numbers, that's where it becomes a very mixed bag for me. Some of the songs are really good and worked into the story really well, but others just feel pointless or forced and honestly are not that memorable. It's been a few weeks since I've seen The Color Purple, and I'm still humming that song that goes, hell no, hell no, hell no. But the songs in this, I might remember one for maybe a day, but next day, completely forgot. And here's the weird thing. I really like musicals when they're good, but after a while in this, it just got to the point where I was like, okay, can we please stop with the singing? It's getting a little old. And this is just me, and you know it is. You all know I cannot stand TikTok, and this movie is compiled of scenes where Regina George will do something small, and every dumbass around her sees this and loses their goddamn mind over it, and thinks they gotta imitate it, and God, I just wish TikTok would die already. I hate it! I really do! Another thing is that this movie really just isn't that funny. Maybe it's just my sense of humor, I don't know, but there was really only one thing that got a good laugh out of me, and that was it. And for a movie called Mean Girls, they honestly play it way too safe to the point where they're barely mean, and I cannot think of one mean thing they did. They got their burn book, but that's it. As for a few things I liked, I may have been mixed on the musical numbers, but the choreography and sets were really good. The singing was really good. Tim Meadows was still great as the principal, even though he's barely in it. And hey, better than Mean Girls 2. Yes, I actually watched that shit. It was for a video that got canned. But in the end, this remake is completely harmless, but I couldn't get into it. If you love the original, I honestly say stick with that, but I still say at least check this out once just to see what you think. It's not a glowing review, but not a bad one either. I'm gonna give Mean Girls 2024 a C+. Oh, by the way, when it comes to my best of the year list, it'll come out soon. I swear. It's just, I had a few movies I had to catch up on. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, turn on the notification bell. I'll be back later with more reviews. See you then.